UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Murphy's going down this weekend. Today I'll be going over my full card predictions and breaking down the whole entire card. Coming off back-to-back pretty solid weeks. Live betting was great. And I went live for that actually last week, and we did a really good job. And just in general, man, I was just hitting a lot of stuff. So last 2 weeks have been really good. Started off the year not great, but see if we can get another win here, man. First fight up, Vanessa Demopoulos versus Talita Alencar. This is a pure pick'em, as you guys may or may not know. You know, WMMA fights, the lower level ones, I don't look at. I'm not gonna lie. Ranked matchups I'll do, but these aren't my favorite. We're just gonna go. Let's see. Let's go with Talita. She's got more submissions, 82 submission or decision rate. Not my favorite. Let's go with Talita, and we'll move on. Let's go. Victor Henry, Pedro Falcao. Man, I really think Victor Henry's a good fighter. He's minus 207 here. Falcao is a debut guy. No, not debut guy. I think he fought. Who did he fight, though? He fought Victor Henry. So Victor Hugo's a decent fighter. He's a big old 145er. Pedro Falcao's like extremely good BJJ, like really, really good BJJ. He likes to be on the front foot. The striking's not great. He's definitely not a better striker than Henry here. He's probably going to need to get this fight to the mat. He's like on the regional scene, he was pretty good. He beat some pretty decent guys on the regional scene, but he's got to get it to the mat, and that's where he can go to work. He's got a good rear naked choke. He's just very, very good on the mat. The problem with that is, Victor Henry, who's coming off a submission loss to Charles Jourdain, his only submission loss in his career. And the guy's a veteran, man. He's a good striker. He's got good hands. He puts together nice combinations, and he's just got volume for days. He'll just keep going. He's got great cardio, great pressure, and he doesn't stop, man. He's really, really good. I think Victor Henry's a really, good fighter. There's some things he doesn't do the best. He doesn't have much power, but he can just push you, man. That Hani Barcelos fight, non-stop pace, pressure, volume from Victor Henry, and beat Hani Barcelos, who was really, highly touted at that time. And Victor Henry's grappling, it's good. It's very good, actually. I think maybe he gets taken down, but I don't think he'll get submitted again. I think we're getting this number kind of minus 207 just because he got submitted last time out. I think Victor Henry should be a bigger favorite here, and I like him to win this fight. Definitely a parlay piece I'll be looking at. I think the volume, the combinations, the pressure by round 2, I think Falcao's not going to like it. And I just think that when you put these grapplers on the back foot, they don't look the same, right? And I think that Victor Henry might not do that originally, but later on into the fight, he's going to start putting this dude on the back foot, making him uncomfortable, ripping combinations, throwing. And he's just a tough, good fighter, So I'll go with Victor Henry here. Definitely a guy I'm looking at for a parlay piece, especially at a number where I think he should be higher. Pretty confident he'll win this one. So we'll move on to the next one, which is, Loma, Lookboonme versus Istela Nunes. Oh my goodness, she's 6-5. Okay, minus 720. We'll go with Loma. Let's go with that. We'll move on to the next one. Another actually pretty solid fight. Rhys, Mckee, Daniel Frunza. I like Daniel Frunza's style. He's very fun to watch. He's got heavy combinations. He throws hard, man. He's trying to take your head off. He'll come forward. He'll pressure. He's a pretty good kickboxer. And I think that the matchup's solid for him. If you look at the odds here, Rhys Mckee is actually plus 138, which surprises me a little bit because the way that Rhys Mckee fights is kind of a zombie. Oh, let me just eat a bunch of shots, fail takedown attempts, not outstrike anyone. And then in the third round, when you're tired, I can press the action and come forward, right? That's kind of the way that he fights. He's tough, he's durable, but I feel like he gets behind so easily in his fights. He's kind of sloppy, not the best athlete, but when these guys have their career, their UFC careers on the line, it's they're going to be extra motivation there. So it makes me a little bit nervous going with Frunza, but this guy seems, like a killer. He's a little bit older. He's not the best fighter ever, but he's aggressive, man. And I like his style quite a bit, actually. He struggles with takedowns. I definitely have noticed that from his, film. I don't think he's a great grappler, but also Rhys Mckee doesn't strike me as a guy who, blast double leg, take you down. He's not a great grappler. He'll try to wrestle, but he doesn't do well often. And if you're in a pure striking match with Frunza, I think he's fast, he's dynamic, and he should be able to win this fight and possibly finish Rhys Mckee, who's a damn tough dude. But I'm telling you, the way Frunza hits, his right hand is powerful. It's really fast. It's sharp, it's explosive. He's a pretty good fighter, man, a pretty good striker. And I think he gets through Rhys Mckee. But like I said before, Rhys Mckee, he's pretty good in the third round. Maybe gets a little bit hairy in that third round because I have seen Frunza fade a little bit. But as long as this guy Frunza's not in front of a pretty solid grappler, I do believe he'll have success here, especially in front of Mckee, who's kind of a zombie. But, when you get these guys that are fighting for their contract, it makes me a little bit nervous going against them. But we'll see what happens. Frunza, to me, is going to be my pick. And we'll move on to the next one. Man. 3 ladies fights. Diana Belbita, Diana Barbosa. I actually know this lady, Dione Barbosa. She fought Ernesta Caracate, I think. I don't remember, man. You guys know. Oh, shit. She's minus 1,000. I'm going with Diane Barbosa. My bad, man. Minus 1,000. She better win. Oh, my goodness, man. Oh, my goodness. If you know, you know. This fight is absolutely unbelievable. This fight is going to be unbelievable. My camera is not set up in the right spot. If you have, problems with that, I apologize. I don't know why it's not. But this fight is incredible. This fight's unbelievable. Davey Grant, Daniel Santos, man. I mean, Davey Grant's fights are always great, but to match him up with this kind of fighter, Daniel Santos, is even better, okay? I cannot tell you how much I love this fight. Davey Grant is a plus 135 favorite. If you join my Discord, I did drop him at plus 145, where I can't remember. I think it was a couple days ago, probably right around here, March 30th, around this area. But yeah, we got him at plus 145. That was a fight that I did research on like last week, kind of. So, but yeah, man, I'm going with Davey Grant. Daniel Santos, he's got fantastic pressure. He's got fantastic endurance and, cardio as well. But he's not a perfect fighter by any means. He makes a lot of mistakes, and he's paid for these mistakes. Julio Arce ran circles around him, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not saying Davey Grant's as good as Julio Arce or fast as Julio Arce. But he is, I want to say, has that kind of similar skill set, but not the same. But man, Julio Arce made the dude look like a rookie. It was an unbelievable performance, and I miss Jose Arce. I want him back in the UFC, but besides the point, Daniel Santos, he's going to come forward. He's going to land hard shots. He's dangerous, and that endurance and that pressure, it's dangerous, man. But there's mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes. And when you look at both of these guys, there's one, there's a clear guy who, I don't know how to say it, is going to be able to take advantage of what Daniel Santos has mistakes in. I mean, this guy was hurt by John Castaneda 2 or 3 or 4, I want to say 2 or 3 times in the first round. And John Castaneda, man, he doesn't strike anybody as a guy who finishes anyone, right? John Castaneda, not a finisher, doesn't hit hard. He had a lot of success finding the mark against Daniel Santos. I'm looking at Davey Grant to get a finish here, man. You have to give him credit. He came back and won that fight. But man, seeing him get hit like that, rocked like that, that much, and getting hit with these head kicks from the southpaw position multiple times. And Julio Arce, not to mention, was killing him from that southpaw. You got Davey Grant in front of you, man, who's unorthodox. He's tough to read, and he is going to be able to switch stances, man. And he sneaks those high kicks up quick. I could see Davey Grant finishing this fight, but I understand why Daniel Santos is the favorite, because he's resilient. His pressure and his endurance is ridiculous. Davey Grant is 39 years old, but Davey Grant's always had pretty good cardio. You know what I mean? There's been fights where Davey Grant's letting go of so much volume. You can see his volume is unbelievable, and it really is. He has great volume, great cardio, but he's 39 years old, so I can see where those odds come into play. But I'm trusting Davey Grant to go out here, hurt Daniel Santos multiple times, and possibly finish him early on. But I am going to go with Davey Grant here. I like him to win this one, possibly inside the distance. We'll see. But next one, Luis Gurule, Ode Osbourne. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really don't like any of these fighters. I think both of these guys are not great. When you look at this one, I'm sorry, Buday Osbourne is plus 220. I'll be honest with you, like, I don't agree with those odds. I think that Buday Osbourne is not that bad. I just think his IQ is really bad. I think his striking defense is really bad. His cardio is not great either. But I think that he has like an opportunity to knock Gurule out. Gurule, man, this guy's so fucking boring to watch. I mean, my goodness. To me, I feel like I can confidently say that Buday Osbourne wins the first round here. This guy, Sean Strickland style, walks you down. He'll take like a 1-2, eat it or defend it, and then back up and reset, and he'll just keep on doing the same thing. He doesn't throw that much for a guy that is consistently or constantly walking you down. And it's just boring to watch, man. I really don't like his style. I don't think he's a great fighter. But I think he does enough to get through Osbourne. But it is going to be one of those fights where I can't imagine laying minus 260 on this dude, especially because I think he's going to drop the first round. He doesn't start off quick. He'll walk you down, make his reads, but I hate his style, man. It's so boring to watch. I don't want, to watch this guy, to be honest with you. He's not a bad fighter for sure. He has good endurance. He has good pressure. He's a tough dude, and his boxing is pretty good. But he's nothing like special. He's definitely not minus 260 worthy. I don't see it. Maybe he gets a finish later on into the fight. Buday Osbourne can definitely be finished. He's been finished often. And I do see like kind of a possibility for the late finish, but I think this guy drops the first round. I want Buday Osbourne to knock him out in the first, because I'm just not a fan of this kind of walk you down style where you don't do anything. And then your opponent gasses out. It's kind of the Strickland style, man. It's frustrating to watch. I'm going to go with Gurule. I don't like his style whatsoever, but I definitely don't like the number either, because you're making, Osbourne look like horrible. He's not that bad, right? I'll go with Gurule, 29-28 decision. Next fight up, Torrez, Finney, Robert Valentin. Man, I'm telling you guys, there's so many, like, weird spots on this card. Do I think Torrez Finney is minus 270? Absolutely not. But I don't think he's minus 270, and I'll tell you why. I think that Robert Valentin, not a good striker, for sure, but there is something about Robert Valentin that's there, right? The guy he's good at sweeping, he's good at reversing, and I feel like if he's able to do it and put Finney on his back, it's gonna be hard. When you see these girthier guys on their back, man, they don't really do a good job getting up, and I feel like they can be held there. But I just think the matchup sucks for Robert Valentin. I mean, he's a grappler, right? He doesn't defend takedowns. He kind of relies on you taking him down and then being able to sweep you from the bottom. And that's just not going to be easy when you have this kind of guy on you, right? A massive dude. I mean, he's huge. So I think that's going to be a big problem for him. And, Valentin, not a great striker. I feel like Finney will be able to get to his spots on the mat if he wants to. Valentin has some gas tank issues. Finney, it's not going to take a whole lot for me to pick against Torrez Finney, and I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. I think that if he's in front of a striker that has competent enough takedown defense, he'll lose, right? Any good counter striker, because this guy's striking defense is really bad. Not to mention he's very small for the division, but his striking defense sucks. But I just don't think Valentin is a good enough striker to take advantage of it. Sure, he can knock him out. But more than likely, Torrez Finney's able to get this fight to the mat and suffocate this guy with his girth, And that's kind of what I see happening. Valentin not being able to do what he wants. And, I just don't know if Robert Valentin's good. And this is definitely not a good matchup for him. 3-0 in the Contender Series, crazy. I'm going to Torrez Finney. Not too confident or happy about it, but we'll move on to the next one. Brad Tavares, Gerald Meerschaert. Man, honestly, you'd look at these numbers and you kind of be like, wait, Gerald should win, right? And when you look at these guys' trajectories of their careers, because Brad Tavares is like 1-4 in his last 5, which is atrocious. Gerald Meerschaert has actually won some fights. But this is just a bad matchup for Gerald, and it doesn't get any simpler than that. I mean, Gerald needs to get the fight to the mat. He needs to, and he's probably not going to be able to. And I'll tell you this about Brad Tavares. He's not the best fighter. But if he is in front of a dude that is one-dimensional, like Gerald Meerschaert, or like a Chris Weidman at that point or that moment in time, that Chris Weidman, he'll be able to beat you easily, right? If he's in front of a guy who knows, like, who needs to take you down, and you're not a great striker, or you don't pose any threat of striking or knocking him out, he'll have no problem beating you. And that's kind of how I see this fight going. Gerald, like, similarly to the Weidman fight, where Tavares kind of knew that Weidman needed to get him to the ground, because that Chris Weidman just didn't hit hard, didn't have any pop in his punches. I kind of feel like it's the same situation for Gerald. Now, if Gerald's able to get it there, he can win, of course. I mean, the dude's got the most submissions ever. I don't even know how many he's got. It's an absurd amount. I think it's like 26 or 27. It's ridiculous, man. Unbelievable. And he can finish anybody. I don't care who you are, right? Brad Tavares never been submitted. Don't care. Gerald can finish him without a doubt. And it's a scenario that could happen, but more than likely, I think Brad finishes him. This fight not to go the distance is actually looking pretty good, plus 125, and I think I'll take it. Brad, not the best, most notorious finisher, but he's in front of a guy like Gerald whose durability is not looking great, right? Gerald makes mistakes on the feet. His chin goes up in the air when he backs up. So Brad can take advantage of those things. It's just about, finishing the fight there. And I think he can. I mean, but there's finishing ability for both guys, right? Just because Gerald's a notorious submission artist, right? If he can get you there, he can finish the fight. And on top of that, Brad, he is good, good enough striking. He's not the most powerful guy, but his striking is slick enough and good enough to drop Gerald Meerschaert, for God's sakes. Rainier de Ritter dropped him. So I imagine Brad Tavares can definitely do it as well. So to me, fight not to go the distance here is looking pretty good. But Brad Tavares will be my pick. We'll move on to the next one. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Martin Buday. I mean, I can't lay this number on Kennedy, man. Especially after the OSP situation. That situation, really bad, man. Really bad. He lost to OSP. And I don't know if I can trust Kennedy after that. He's won 2 fights here at heavyweight. He should be able to get through Martin Buday. I don't see anything that Martin Buday does that is great. But I can kind of just, you just have that thought in the back of your head of Kennedy, not doing enough to win, not doing anything. But the way that Martin Buday likes to clinch so much, Kennedy's better than him in the clinch. He should be able to take advantage of that. The key word is should, because I just don't know, right? Kennedy, we don't know what to expect out of this guy anymore. But I'm scarred from the OSP fight. But I'm going with Kennedy, man. I don't know how, he should win the fight. He should win the fight. I'm going to pick him to win. I'm rooting for Kennedy, man. I want him to win. We'll move on to the next one. ChangHo Lee, Cortavious, Romious. This line has really fallen down, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't understand. I think clearly ChangHo Lee's the better fighter. Cortavious Romious fought Gaston Bolaños. I picked him to lose against Gaston Bolaños, and he got out-grappled by him. I didn't think that would happen because Gaston Bolaños is really bad on the ground, like really bad. I mean, that's like where anyone, when I was thinking, I'll mention this. When I was thinking about like maybe some possible fights for Peyton Talbot after the Hani Barcelos fight, I was thinking of Gaston Bolaños because Gaston Bolaños can't take anybody down and his grappling sucks. So I was thinking that, yeah, let's do that. That's how bad Gaston Bolaños is on the mat, and he was reversing Cortavious Romious. Man, I just think the matchup's not good for him. Romious is not a good grappler. He's not a great grappler. I think his best shot's on the feet. He's explosive on the feet. He's got, he throws hard. But ultimately, man, he's going to be willing to engage in that grappling. That's what ChangHo Lee wants. ChangHo Lee, not the greatest grappler, but he is a better grappler than Romious to me. This fight hits the mat. I think ChangHo Lee wants that to happen. If Cortavious Romious is getting reversed by Gaston Bolaños, man, I think ChangHo Lee will be able to do that. Not to mention, ChangHo Lee can do it all day. He can go all day. He's got vicious ground and pound too. His sweeps are good. His jiu-jitsu is pretty good. I think that ChangHo Lee should win this fight, man. I don't really know why this line has closed. I think that ChangHo Lee should be able to get this one done unless he gets knocked out. I mean, because ChangHo Lee doesn't have anything really to offer on the feet at range. but he is good in the clinch. You know, he punishing in the clinch, and he's got good trips from the clinch, and he can just go all day. You know, if Cortavious Romious ends up on top, ChangHo Lee will make him work and get up and then try to take you down again, because he's got that kind of endurance. And if you're gassing out grappling with Gaston Bolaños, man, I think this is going to be a really tough fight for you. You know, ChangHo Lee, one of his fights in road to the UFC was against, I can't remember who was against, but a good fighter who fought Su Young Yu and went to a split decision there. And ChangHo Lee finished that guy. He finished him, but he was losing that fight. Like 10 minutes into the fight, down 2 rounds potentially, and maybe he won the second, but down 2 rounds potentially. In the third round, gets taken down again. But the dude's finishing ability, right? He saw that this guy was tired. He was exhausted. The finishing ability on ChangHo Lee is great. I mean, he took this dude down, immediately got to a position to where he could find ground and pound, and he laid the hammer on him. Pause. I think that he's a good finishing instinct to go out there and land ground and pound. He has nasty ground and pound too. I think ChangHo Lee's going to beat Cortavious Romious pretty easily. And the number -135 looks kind of good. So we'll see what happens there. But we'll move on to the next one. Co-main event, Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. Guys, for how good Pat Sabatini is, it's incredible to see him at almost nearly +200, because the guy is such a talented grappler. But my gosh, man, it's just, there's always one thing about like really, really good fighters, that there's just one outlying factor here, and that's Pat Sabatini's durability. Pat is not a good striker. He's not an awful, like, I can't even strike. No, he can a little bit, but he's not a good striker. And the issues with Pat is his chin. It doesn't get any, like, it is blaring, right? He got knocked out by Damon Jackson. Let me say that. Knocked out by Damon Jackson. It's really bad. As well. Who did he get finished by as well? Lopez, of course. But even before, like Jamal Emmers, right? Jamal Emmers dropped him bad. You know, and even on the regional scene, he's been finished. And I just don't know if I could trust him, man. Because if he's able to get you to the mat and put you on your back, he's one of the best in the division. And I firmly say that. That's why he was a favorite over Diego Lopez. Because Pat Sabatini was supposed to beat Diego Lopez how Joe Anderson Brito beat Diego Lopez, holding him down and defending the submissions. People really thought Pat Sabatini was going to do that, and myself included. I think Pat is an extremely good grappler. But my issues come with Joe Anderson Brito's physicality, his power, you know, and obviously Joe Anderson Brito's been taken down. He's been taken down by JSP. He's been controlled a little bit by Lopez. I want to go Pat so badly. And if this line gets over, like, if it somehow gets over like minus or +225, then there's a good chance I'm going to bet on Pat, but I just can't do it, man. I just can't do it. I think Brito's too physical. He's too strong to, you know, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, like the clinch, I feel like it's going to be a problem for Pat, and it just takes one for me, man. I just think that Brito just needs to land one of these shots, and I can see him doing it. Like Brito's by KO's like +115, and I just see him doing it, man. I just see him finishing Pat. I don't know. You know, I like Pat and I like his game, but I just can't pick him, man. We'll move on to the main event. Josh Emmett, Lerone Murphy. This line is very bad, okay? Because Ilia Topuria was around this kind of favorite versus Josh Emmett, and Lerone Murphy's not Ilia Topuria. You know, I think it's a good matchup for Murphy because he does the right things against these kind of guys. Sure, he got caught by Dan Ige, but he's athletic. He's fast. He moves in and out extremely well. You know, and I would even argue that Dan Ige probably is like better countering than Josh Emmett. You know, Josh Emmett is explosive, obviously hits hard, but he's extremely one-dimensional, and he's 40 years old. He's old. You know, I just don't know, man. I think that Josh Emmett, he's definitely not a bad fighter at this point in his career, but he's always tough. He's always durable. He'll never go out, you know, without a fight. I think Lerone's probably beats him to a decision here. But obviously it's a dangerous fight. Like, Lerone is going to get hit, right? It's going to happen. Josh Emmett hits everybody he fights. Doesn't matter how good your footwork is. He will be able to hit you, and it's just going to be how Lerone Murphy takes that shot. And I've seen a lot of people talking about Lerone Murphy mixing in the wrestling. We don't really ever see Josh Emmett wrestle, so I don't even know if he's going to be able to take Josh Emmett down. But Lerone, I will say this. I don't think Lerone Murphy's a world beater. I don't think he's an incredible fighter, but he's smart, okay? I'll say that Lerone is smart, and he does a really good job mixing in his grappling. He does, man. You know, in the Dan Ige fight, he was taken down. He got put on his back in that fight. But, man, when in the first round, he, slipped into a takedown. It looked beautiful, and he set it up with the hands, and he does do a really good job at doing that. It's just going to be him not getting hit. This is definitely a spot for me where I'm just absolutely not in this fight in terms of gambling. There's no way I'm betting on it. I would definitely tell you that there's going to be value on Josh Emmett for sure. I mean, the guy can chain, but you might as well just go KO. I don't see him winning a decision. You know what I mean? I think if he wins by KO. So that's probably the way to go about it. But to me, man, Lerone should be able to, even if he has one hiccup in this fight, he should be able to land more volume, land the cleaner shots, maybe slip in the takedowns as well. But I kind of feel like this fight should be lined minus 200 on Lerone or minus 185 on Lerone. I think that you're giving him way too much respect, and I like Lerone Murphy. I like his game, but I don't think he's a minus 300 kind of fighter against Josh Emmett. So, yeah, I will be going with Lerone Murphy. Not too many underdogs on this card for me personally, and it sucks, but Davey Grant I think is the only one. I will post a video on my betting guide. When is it? Thursday? Probably Thursday, and hopefully I'll be live Friday or Saturday for the fights. We'll see, but I will let you know on my YouTube or my Discord, whatever it is. So yeah, man, that's gonna wrap it up for me. Hope y'all boys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.